young girl, scarcely 16. Thanks to my parents, lots of places I've seen, but never a place that I love as well as my Virgil home 'neath the maiden hill. My Virgil home, that heaven of mine, the home of my parents, so loving and kind. I love them so, and I always will. And my Virgil home 'neath the maiden hill. The harbor's so pretty in the morning sunshine, as the seabirds and robins their sweet notes entwine. But fishing goes shiny in the water so still, here in my home 'neath the maiden hill. When I had trouble or if I was sad, I always found comfort from good friends I had. They knew that I loved them and I always will. And my Virgil home 'neath the maiden hill. My Virgil home, that heaven of mine, the home of my parents, so loving and kind. I love them so, and I always will. And my Virgil home 'neath the maiden hill. With her fishery failing, I may have to roam. Dear God, how I'd hate to leave my dear home, but each night in memory, sure I'll see it still. My Virgil home 'neath the maiden hill. My Virgil home, that heaven of mine, the home of my parents, so loving and kind.
Good evening. Welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight's stories include: landscaping is being carried out at the Sou'West Senior Center. Renovations are being done to the council office building. Sandbanks Park now has running water. Interview with student placement worker Michelle Ball. And more, so please stay tuned.
You may think hiking is just hiking. At Participaction, we know hiking is more. Now, research confirms regular activity as simple as hiking helps control blood pressure, reduces your risk of heart attack and stroke, and you feel great. Hiking, the shortest distance between you and better health. Participaction, the movement for active, healthy living.
Landscaping is being carried out at the Sou'West Senior Center to improve the grounds there. The building originally opened last year in June. Mr. Collier, what exactly is happening here at the Senior Center today?
Well, Dave, we're probably a year later than we thought, but we're hoping to do some landscaping in front of the building and also on the back as well. Newfoundland Labrador Housing, there was only one tender submitted, and it was over budget, so they decided if we could get it done locally, that's what we'd try to do. So what you see here today, if I could show you, in front of the building, the parameter in front of the building, there's going to be a 5-meter width lawn running right in front of the building. This area where I'm standing here is going to be leveled off and it's going to be all paved. And over here where your father is right now, that's going to be a 7 parking lot area right here as well. The guys up in the front of the building right now, they're doing some drainage. There was a bit of a problem with the overflow from the roof. Heavy rain would splash up against the building, and one of the seniors had a bit of dampness there. So we've installed some heave trough and going to run some pipe as well, some drainage out to connect up with the culvert. So that's what they're doing there. And the same thing is going ahead in this wing right here to connect up with the culvert right here where I'm standing. Surrounding the old area on the outside, on the back, is supposed to be hydro-seeded as well. There will be topsoil put there, and then the old area will be hydro-seeded. Dave, if you want to go on the back of the building, I can show you what they did for the drainage system as well, if you'd like to move over there.
Okay, what's the purpose of the drain that's dug along here?
No, this is just the perimeter of where the lawn is going to be, that's all. Actually, it's going to be 6x6 pressure treated timber, and the area is going to be filled in with topsoil and then the sods on top of that. So that's just the perimeter, the width of what the area is going to be. It's 5 meters wide and the whole length of the frontage of the building. Actually, where I'm standing is a little bit higher than it should be, and that's going to be leveled off in preparation for the paving as well. Hospital and the center, there was always a problem of the stale water. So what we've done here, we've got 2 culverts installed, and hopefully that'll alleviate that problem with any kind of runoff and so on. That'll go on right through the old system. And again, this area will be hydro-seeded as well.
Renovations are being carried out to the interior as well as the exterior of the Town Council office building. We spoke to Town Manager Mr. Doug Kendall to find out what renovations are being carried out and why.
When we have delegations in or government officials come in and meet with us, we're pressed for room. So what we're doing, we're going to remove this partition along here and extend the meeting room over to take in this corridor here, which will give us 5 more feet on our meeting room, which will make it more suitable for holding our meetings. And if people got to come in and meet with council from the general public, we'll have room enough to accommodate.
Doug, why did you take the windows and doors out of this side of the building?
We took the windows and doors. This is the dirty weather side of the building. We felt that we didn't need all the lighting that was here, and we didn't use this door much, and it wasn't required to have it for an exit, so we eliminated it altogether. So there will be no windows on the eastern side or the dirty weather side of the building. We got extensive water through those windows. They leaked all while we had them in there, and they were rotten in places, so we had to change those.
Okay, what other plans are there for the building?
Well, basically, we're providing, with the in-cart program that undergoes CEIC requiring more office space. So we've taken our stock room and we're converting that into an office for Teresa Peterson, and that's going to be this office right here, okay? We're getting this one cleaned out, and this is going to be the office for CEIC. They'll have 3 offices then on this end of the building. And plus the fact they also need a meeting room because they have a lot of clientele in where they have to meet on occasion, so they'll be using the meeting room also for meetings and that. That's basically what we're doing with the interior. We're going to be changing our bathrooms around to have them in the corridor. Right now they're facing right where you come into the main door, and that's not a good place for them. So we're going to move them around here, and we're going to have a second washroom, which would be classified as a unisex washroom, but it's going to be accessible to handicapped personnel when it's completed. So that's one of the requirements under the Accessibility Act. So that's basically what we're doing inside. And outside, we're taking out all the windows in the building, and we're replacing those windows, and we're taking off all the sheeting, and that's going to be replaced with vinyl siding. David, I guess next week, once all the windows are out, there's a number of doors here, and the siding that we're taking off is not in too bad a shape. And that's going to be going up on public tender for anyone who wishes to tender on. That's the windows, everything will be itemized individually in the doors. And once everything is removed, we're also taking out the furnace out of this furnace room. The hot water furnace is coming out, and we're converting to liquid heat. So the furnace and all the radiation that's in the building, that'll be going on public tender also within the next week or so. Well, if people's interested, I'll have it on BBS, and you people can put it on for general public information.
Okay, Doug, thanks for speaking to us.
Okay, you're welcome, Dave.
Over the past few years, Sandbanks Park has seen a lot of changes, starting with a road that made access to the park a lot easier. Well, this year was no exception as running water was installed in the park. Thanks to a Challenge 94 project, campers using the facilities at Sandbanks Provincial Park this summer won't have to go to the causeway in order to get drinking water. The students dug a water line from the causeway here to just where the campsites start at the park. A total of 4,400 feet of hose was run. All this was dug by hand and buried by hand, and now campers will only have to walk from their campsite over to this spot in order to get water, whereas before they would have had to drove or walk to the causeway. Also, another drinking water tap was installed at the other end of the campsites. And running water was hooked up into the cabin as well. BBS will soon be making a new addition to its cable lineup. Many of you remember and have asked about NTV. Well, NTV will be available in about 2 weeks on Channel 21.
Bringing the world to Newfoundland and Labrador, we reach more homes and families than we ever have before. New faces and familiar.
Tonight on the NTV Evening News, 2 American balloonists are on their way to Europe after a successful nighttime launch from a field in St. John's. Also tonight, a Micmac choir brings its message to a conference in song. And the province gets some high marks in a report card from the Atlantic Province's Economic Council.
The NTV Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Lynn Burry.
And I'm Tony Marie Wiseman. Fred Hutton is off on...
With the addition of NTV, we will have another provincial news program, the NTV News, as well as lots of other great programs for your viewing pleasure at no additional cost. Coming soon to your cable lineup, NTV. Watch for it.
This province also does well in terms of government revenue growth and controlling debt charges.
Stay tuned for more of This Week in Review coming up after this.
For almost a century, there's been a group of people working hard for Canada, fighting for this country. Now they are uniting to keep Canada together. The Royal Canadian Legion supports Canadian unity.
Student placement worker Michelle Ball stopped by our studio on Thursday to give us a rundown on the Challenge 94 program, because this was her last week of work at the Employment Outreach for the summer. Our guest today is Michelle Ball, student placement worker at Canada Employment Outreach. Michelle, can you tell us how many students worked on the Odd Job Squad this summer?
There were 11 students.
Okay, in the past this number has been significantly higher. Can you tell us why there are not as many students involved this year?
Because there are more students' jobs this year, the numbers would probably average out to be about the same.
Okay, what sorts of projects do the students who worked on the Odd Job Squad do?
They did the car wash, and they were hired by an employer for a half day to a day, and they did the TV bingos.
Okay, how did they work off the earnings that they made at the bingo?
They provided free labor for the seniors.
Was there much of a demand for labor by senior citizens?
Yes, there was, but where we had such a small number of students, we found it hard to do all requests.
Okay, did you get them all done?
Yes, pretty much.
Well, that's the main thing then. Okay, how many students found employment this summer?
Approximately 45 students got a summer job.
Is that just challenge jobs, or is that jobs other than challenge too?
Other than challenge.
Oh, so it's 45 altogether?
Yep.
Oh, okay. How many students were there seeking employment?
About 75.
About 75, so better than half of the students did get.
Mm-hmm.
So that number you quoted, 45, does that include the 11 that were on the Odd Job Squad?
No.
Okay, so that would bring it up to 50,
Yeah.
50 something. Oh, that's great. Michelle, did you enjoy working at the Canada Employment Outreach this summer?
Yes, I did. It gave me the opportunity to work with the pulley, which I really liked doing.
Okay, what are your plans for September?
Going back to Mon,
In Corner Brook or St. John's?
Cornerbrook this year.
Oh, I see. What course are you, or what?
I'm doing my
degree?
honors in sociology.
Oh, I see. Well, we'd like to wish you the best of luck at that. And we'd like to thank you for keeping us updated on what the students have been doing this summer. Our guest today is Michelle Boss. She was the student placement worker at Canada Employment Outreach for this summer. Thanks for speaking to us, Michelle.
You're welcome.
This week, as we look back and remember when, we're going to take you back to May of 1987, when Roy Payne spoke to the students at St. John's Central High on the effects of drugs.
I'd like to welcome you to the assembly this morning. Last year, when the study was done by the PTA, and some of the students here worked on it, and a number of people in the community worked on it, that it was realized that, in fact, there is a problem in Burgeo and a number of other communities around the island with alcohol abuse and drug abuse, and the PTA made it one of a project that we would work on and try and bring about a little better environment in Burgeo. And in connection with that, very pleased this morning to have Roy Payne with us. It was a good turnout last night, a number of parents along. And I just might mention that I heard Roy Payne some years ago, 12, 15 years ago, I suppose. Many people here in this room have too. And I heard the message. I liked the music that he played and songs and so on. But last night I heard a little different message. And the only thing that I asked of you this morning is that you be a good audience and listen to the message that he has to bring to you. I'm not going to introduce him as such. He does a very good job with that himself. Mr. Roy Payne.
Morning to you. Well, we're not doing too bad today. We got a couple of nice looking ones up front. Four good looking ones there, a couple of old dogs right there. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 nice looking girls there. How'd you guys get in there? Always seem to get the ugly ones up front. But seeing it's a very bright morning and I had a good night's sleep and the Edmonton Oilers beat Detroit, I can see a long way. And as I look back, I can see a few old dogs in the rear too. Okay, now we're going to become serious. I spend a lot of my time talking to young people because I want to, not because anybody tells me to. I've been at it 5 years. I'm like you now. I start school in September and I get out in June. I talk about a subject that's possibly very touchy with young people, so I handle it almost in your way. You may not know it now, but you will before it's over. I'm your friend. Don't put no pressures on you. Don't lay no heavy trips on you. I don't tell you not to do booze, not to do drugs. It's entirely up to you. I'm a firm believer that today's young people are probably smarter than any generation ever before us. You're different, believe me, but there's nothing wrong with being different. As you look at me, the way I dress, you'll probably think that I'm different too. Believe me, I am. And if you think it's hard for you as young people to be different in this world, think how hard it is for me to be different in this world, and I'm the age of the people that kind of give you a hard time. Really. I get some weird looks, but then I don't mind because I do look weird. See, I have a firm policy within me that's been there a long time, but I never judge a person by what they wear, the color of their skin, or any other prejudice factor known to our society. You're like that because you're untouched yet by the system. Young people are not prejudiced, but you are being led around sometimes by the wrong people, just like I was. 48 years old and looking back to 14, you know, it's very short distance. When you're looking ahead from 14, it's a long distance. I was 14 years old when I got into my first taste of beer. Remember in Cormac at my grandmother's house, we had a cellar. There was no such a thing in them days as basements. I don't think cement was invented back in the 50s. In that cellar, my grandmother kept jams. She kept all kinds of preserves, weird things, homemade wine, a few bottles of beer when company came, and spiders used to live there too. So I made my way in there one day without any difficulty at all, never banged my head once. While I was in there, I found a few bottles of beer, got a 4-inch nail and dug the top off. We never had those squeeze the tops then. You worked for your bottle of beer. I drank, I think, 3 or 4, no more. Very strange tasting beer. Most horrible beer I ever drank in my life after 25 years of drinking. It was called Jockey Club. Very few things happened to me. I became what's known as very giddy. Maybe it was dizzy. I remember in there giggling in the dark all by myself. Then I remember wanting to get out and look at the world. This time, though, I had a little difficulty getting out of the old cellar. I cracked my skull a few times.
This program will be shown in its entirety on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Well, that's it for tonight's program. Please stay tuned now for another episode of Driftwood and Friends. On behalf of all of us here at BBS, we hope you have a great week. For This Week in Review, I'm Dave Cooper. Good night.